we realized is as we supplied the nanofibers to these big brands, it ended there. And the consumer didn't know about the technology. And the brands, even though they want to promote this new performance, they couldn't properly communicate it to the consumers. I believe ingredient branding is that missing piece. We can do the job for brands to properly communicate our technology because we built it. And in return, consumers get to understand why the certain products that they use are special and why they have special value to it.
Welcome to HeroInside the Ingredient Branding Podcast with Tomas Vucurevic. In each episode, Tomas will draw from his vast experience as the go-to global ingredient branding expert and will discuss this subject with visionaries and pioneers in the field. How do you go from the zero position as a supplier of a new ingredient to the hero position in demand around the world? Let's find out.
Welcome back to the HeroInside podcast. My name is Tomas Vucurevic and I'm pleased to welcome you to our new episode. Today's guest is Jaemin Park, co-founder of Niber Technologies, and we are doing a live podcast recording from the Munich Fabric Start trade show. Built on decades of accumulated electrospinning expertise, Niber is successfully scaling electrospinning from laboratory technology into industrial manufacturing. This week, the company announced its intention to pursue a structural ingredient brand strategy, marking a new chapter in the company's evolution from an OEM technology manufacturer towards becoming a sought-after ingredient brand. Today, I will explore with Jaemin what drives that transition, why technology alone is often not enough, and how ingredient branding can help create value across the entire supply chain. So let's dive in. So welcome, Jaemin, to the HeroInside podcast. Great to have you on the show.
It's great to be here, Thomas.
Jaemin, before we talk about ingredient branding and Niber Technologies, maybe we give our audience a chance to get to know you personally and also your amazing family story and background on the whole topic of electrospinning. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Absolutely. My name is Jaemin Park. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Niber Technologies. We're a company that specializes in electrospinning technology. Fun fact is my family actually developed the first mass production electrospinning system 20 years ago. And from that first development onwards, my family has pretty much been on this journey of trying to scale and operate this technology globally.
So you grew up with it as children together with your brother, breathing it in, so to say.
Yes, when we were just in grade school, we would run around in the house and we would have all these polymer electrospun films that my father would show different prototypes. So we really did grow up around it. We know the feel of it, the touch of it since a very young age.
Very good. So maybe our audience is not so super familiar with the technology. Can you quickly explain what electrospinning is and how fundamentally it works?
I'll try to quickly explain it. Basically, think of applying 50,000, tens of thousands of volts to a liquid polymer solution. And when you apply that much electrical force, the force pulls the liquid solution from plus to minus. And the force is so great and it pulls it so quickly that the liquid gets solidified and turns so thin that it's 500 times thinner than human hair. So in the end, what electrospinning does is we change a liquid solution to extremely thin fibers that are in the nanoscale. And with this, we can create all sorts of materials that can be beneficial in multiple applications.
Great. We will talk about the first applications in a minute. But also you now announced this week your shift from a traditional supplier towards building an ingredient brand. And what stands out to me here is this end-to-end approach that you are following. So you're not just manufacturing the membrane, but you control the formulation, the electrospinning process as such, membrane developments, and also quality and testing. Why is that so important?
The most important driver in the material science business is innovation, I believe. And if you don't have an end-to-end platform, it's very difficult to innovate. We control everything from the chemical formulation, the mass production lines. We build our own production lines. And we also develop all these different kinds of films directly. And what this enables us to do is become true masters of the technology.
I assume that's very important for customers who maybe also experience for the first time with that technology to have a partner who really deeply understands the material and also the science behind, isn't it?
It enables much deeper conversations, collaborations, and credibility, I believe.
So apparel is your first business application. And as most of us are aware, the textile industry is going through a significant change. PFAS regulations are accelerating. New technologies are emerging. But also consumer behavior has changed and the expectations around comfort and performance continue to rise. So why do you believe now is the right time, the right moment for Niber to enter this market?
For over 20 years, my family's been trying to enter this market for quite a long time. And in this 2-decade journey, we've noticed there were many obstacles. But several years ago, PFAS regulations became extremely strengthened. And as a result of these regulations, the available products that customers can purchase have become very limited. And in this very limited space, we believe electrospinning provides a very unique value proposition to consumers that other materials no longer are able to provide. And that's extreme comfort, breathability, and water-tuned performance.
Lightweight also, softness of the materials, things like that. But nevertheless, many manufacturers in Asia choose to remain suppliers and being also trapped a little bit in that role. So what does ingredient branding allow Niber to do now that your traditional OEM manufacturing doesn't?
Yeah, that's a very good question. How our first generation, my family ran the business was very much like you described, the toll manufacturers in Asia. And for all these years, my brother and I thought that the technology, the unique technology that we developed, a technology that we at the time were the only ones really developing, did not get the recognition that we thought it deserved. And what I mean by that is over time, we started supplying our material to mass-produced apparel and clothes. And we brought a unique value proposition to these clothes, an apparel that consumers like, the breathability, the protection, the lightweight performance. But consumers had no idea why this new apparel was enabling these kind of performances. Ingredient branding allows the technology builder to directly communicate with the consumer. And I think that's a very, very special interaction that our business needs in the long term if we want to have a sustainable relationship with our consumer brands and our customers.
So that is a fundamental strength of ingredient branding, to create value across the entire supply chain, or we could also say demand chain in that respect. So how do you see that your strategy will benefit brand partners, retailers, and ultimately also the consumers?
For the past 5 years, we produced a lot of nanofiber films and we supplied some major brands. To us, that was quite a significant moment because we were able to validate the technology with mass-produced products. But what we realized is as we supplied the nanofibers to these big brands, it ended there. And the consumer didn't know about the technology. And the brands, even though they want to promote this new performance, they couldn't properly communicate it to the consumers. I believe ingredient branding is that missing piece. We can do the job for brands to properly communicate our technology because we built it. And in return, consumers get to understand why the certain products that they use are special and why they have special value to it. And we can own this story and we can communicate the story of electrospinning and the products we can innovate through electrospinning directly to the consumers and get them excited about this technology.
And that will also help retail to promote those products or to also educate consumers about new technology and new benefits. So, Jaemin, this week you announced your company strategy to pursue an ingredient brand for the performance textiles market. Do you have already plans when to introduce that to the marketplace, and what can we expect here?
Yes, we've already entered direct planning for this ingredient branding, and we've already started work around this ingredient brand. In terms of launching it, we do have plans to launch by the end of this year our ingredient brand.
Very good. I think everybody is looking forward to that, and this market, from my experience, also needs this defining ingredient brand who helps to educate, as you say, brand partners, retailers, and consumers about that new technology. So that already brings us to the end of our short episode today. And usually at the end of our episode, we also reverse the role. there is a question for the guest. So Jaemin, is there perhaps something you want to answer yourself about ingredient branding or about this conversation?
Yes, Thomas, I actually do have a question that I want to ask you. I remember when we first engaged Brand, I learned that you've never engaged with a company in this field. And I was wondering what got you and Brand to really work with Niber.
That's a good question. Bit of a surprise, but happy to answer. Thank you for that. And it's true. I have a personal experience in the market for, let's say, waterproof, breathable materials and textiles. And it is not that we haven't been approached in the last 15 years by other suppliers in order to work on that. But honestly, so far, I haven't been convinced and I haven't seen really the right strategic approach. And I think the decision to work with Niber and also to take on your invitation as an advisor to the board is based, I think, on three things. One, it's people. So I think I met you and your brother already 2 years ago. We had ongoing conversations when you were not yet ready to move on. And then when also Richard Beck joined you as a president of the company, we've been working together 30 years ago. And I think we really have much more than a business relationship, and we are almost friends and building our relationship day by day. So it's really fun and enjoying working together. The second thing I think is the clarity and intent. What I was really impressed was the clarity with which you said, we want to do this, we have to do this now, we want to do ingredient branding and we want to go all in. And that's how we are now working on the project, and we can feel and see that every day. And I think the third element is also the fact that we are building kind of this Asian origin brand, which is super interesting and super attractive, not only for me, but for the entire team. Now, we talk a lot about China speed, Asia speed at the moment. And, traditionally, Asian companies have been suppliers, have been treated badly by brands from the West who are using Asia as a production place. But now we see things are changing. When we look at the car industry, now Chinese cars, Asian cars are selling successfully in Europe. We see it now in the outdoor industry. Anta and other Chinese brands are acquiring brands in the West, becoming key players in the outdoor industry. And now with Niber, we also have a material innovator who wants to build a brand and who's serious about that. So I think these three things together made it really an absolutely no-brainer to say, yes, we're going to work together with you and your team on Niber Technologies. So thank you also for making that decision.
We're absolutely grateful that you agreed to work with us.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end. Thank you very much. I think everybody is looking forward to hear more details, and I'm sure in a couple of months we will be back. Thank you for now. Enjoy the show and have safe travels back.
Thank you very much, Thomas.
That brings us to the end of today's episode with Jaemin Park from Niber Technologies. And I'm sure you enjoyed hearing from Jaemin about the impressive family history and engagement he and his brother are having with this new technology over the past 20 years. And you are hopefully as excited as I am that we see new players, new companies coming also from other regions of the world to innovate and to bring ingredient branding as a methodology to the forefront. So if you want to share your insights or if you have any questions about this episode, please head over to our Brain LinkedIn page and join the conversation. The link will be posted in the show notes too. Subscribe to the HeroInside podcast to be sure not to miss the next episodes. And until then, keep exploring, learning, and being a hero in your journey towards a better world.
This has been an episode of HeroInside, the Ingredient Branding Podcast with Tomas Vucurevic. Each episode features stories and wisdom from game-changing creators and the shapers of the world's most exciting and influential ingredient brand. To learn more about ingredient branding and Tomas's work, visit brained.co. That's BRAIND.co. Until next time.